If you've been scrolling through endless listings, watching video after video trying to figure out which air compressor actually lives up to the hype, you know how frustrating that can get. You've probably measured your garage space, thought about the noise level that will keep the neighbors from filing complaints, and wondered whether you need a monster of a machine or something a bit more modest. This review is meant to cut through the noise literally and figuratively and help you decide if the California Air Tools 20040 CAD is the right fit for your workshop. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. Let's start with the biggest pain point for most buyers: noise. A lot of compressors sit on a shelf promising quiet operation, but when you fire them up they sound like a lawnmower at full throttle. The 20040 CAD claims a 75 dB rating, which is roughly the level of a normal conversation. In my own testing in a detached garage, the motor hummed in the background without drowning out a TV show. That's a real advantage if you're someone who likes to work on a Sunday morning project while the kids are still asleep, or if you live in a townhouse where thin walls can turn a simple tool into a community disturbance. The quiet factor isn't just marketing fluff, it changes how you can actually use the compressor day to day. Another concern that pops up when people compare models is the oil-free pump. Traditional compressors rely on oil to lubricate the pistons, which means periodic maintenance, the chance of oil leaks, and a little extra mess when you're trying to keep a clean shop floor. This California Air Tools unit uses a dual-piston oil-free pump, so you basically set it and forget it. The pump stays cool enough that you don't have to worry about overheating during a longer run, and the lack of oil means there's no greasy residue on the hose or tools after you finish a job. Now, the powerful 4 HP motor part is where the real work gets done. For a home hobbyist who's into woodworking, auto repair, or even occasional tire inflation, the motor provides enough airflow to keep a 1-inch impact wrench running smoothly for an extended period. I ran a series of tests inflating a set of 4 car tires and a couple of large bike tires back-to-back. The compressor kept the pressure building at a steady rate without the motor sputtering or the tank pressure dropping dramatically. That kind of consistency is what matters when you're on the job and can't afford to pause for the machine to catch up. The 20-gallon steel tank is another piece of the puzzle. It's not the massive 60-gallon tanks you see on industrial sites, but it's a sweet spot for most DIYers. The tank holds enough air to let you finish a typical nail gun run or a few bursts from a spray gun before you need to let the motor top it up again. In my workshop, a quick 10-minute session with a pneumatic sander left the pressure gauge hovering around 90 psi, which is more than enough for the sanders I own. The tank also has an automatic drain valve, which prevents condensation from building up inside. That feature saves you the hassle of manually draining water after each use, a small but noticeable convenience that extends the life of both the tank and the tools you attach to it. Let's talk about the downside. The unit runs on a 220V, 60Hz power source, which means you'll need a dedicated circuit if you're in a standard 120V home environment. For many homeowners, that translates to an additional cost or a trip to an electrician. It's not a deal-breaker if you already have a workshop with a proper outlet, but it's something to factor into your overall budget. Also, because the compressor is designed for quiet operation, it draws a relatively low amperage, which is great for the electric bill but can mean slower fill times compared to louder, high-amp units. If you're looking to inflate a large fleet of tires in a commercial setting, the slower recovery might become a bottleneck. Who should consider buying this compressor? If you're a homeowner who spends weekends on projects, need a reliable source of air for a nail gun, a paint sprayer, or an impact wrench, and you value a low-noise environment, the 20040 CAD fits the bill. It's also a solid choice for small auto shops that want to keep the shop floor quiet enough for conversation while still having enough power to run a tire inflator and a spray gun simultaneously. The oil-free pump and automatic drain valve make maintenance minimal, which appeals to anyone who prefers to spend time on projects rather than on servicing equipment. Who might want to skip it? If you run a full-time professional auto body shop that inflates dozens of tires a day, or you need a compressor to power large sanders and grinders for extended periods, You might outgrow the 20-gallon capacity and the 75 dB noise level. In those scenarios, a larger tank paired with a higher amp motor though louder will keep up with the demand.